The World Poker Tour. The biggest games, the greatest players, and the largest payouts on the planet. The WPT is a series of international high-stakes poker tournaments that can turn amateur players into millionaires and make professionals into superstars. With millions of dollars on the line, it's time for these 6 players to live the dream of fame, fortune, and the one thing money can't buy, a WPT title. Tonight on the World Poker Tour.
Hi, everyone. Tonight, we're coming to you from Atlantic City for the Borgata Poker Open. I'm Mike Sexton alongside Vince Van Patten, and this is the WPT.
That's right, Mike. We are back at Borgata once again, and once again, the top amateurs and professionals got together, came to the Jersey Shore to take a shot, trying to make a splash and take home a WPT title.
It's the pros that have really dominated this tournament. Our chip leader is a young internet phenom looking to make his mark in live tournaments, 22-year-old Vivek Rajkumar.
Right behind him sit 2 top veterans of the game, Mark Safe and Dan Highmiller. While the 3 remaining amateur players are going to need to play catch-up if they want to win this title.
Well, no matter what the chip counts are right now, it's still anybody's guess as to who the next WPT champion will be.
There's only one way to find out. Let's go watch them gamble.
So here we go. Final table about to get underway. 3 pros and 3 amateurs fighting it out for a first-place prize of over $1.4 million.
That is right. The antes will start at $10,000. The blinds, $60,000 and $120,000. Dealer has the cards in the air. Let's go to the felt. Action's going to Mark Safe.
Well, Mark Safe, one of the most creative and exciting poker players. Looks down at a Queen-Jack offsuit.
All right, let's get it started.
Well, he says, let's get started. He bumps it up to $350,000.
Yes, he does. Jason Strocek, the entrepreneur from Fort Lauderdale, quickly folding his hand.
Around to Sang Kim. Sang is a 7th degree Taekwondo Grand Master, Vince.
He's got King 8 this time, won't play that. Vivek also going out.
And Highmiller quickly folding, and, well, Andrew Nee going out as well, so Mark off to a nice start here. Mark Safe pumps a fist. We can still remember the 2 aces that got cracked by Han Lee at the Legends of Poker in Season 1 when Mark went out in 4th place. Mark Safe has won many poker tournaments but has yet to claim a victory on the World Poker Tour. He really wants to add that WPT bracelet to his collection. He's itching to become the next WPT champ.
All right, quickly going down to Jason Strocek from Lauderdale, entrepreneur, 31 years old. Looks down at a uneventful 8-6. He won't play that. And now Sang Kim looks down at a 6-7, also going out.
Vivek peeks down at the King Deuce, our chip leader. He goes out.
Now Dan Highmiller, and look at this. He's got a pair of 9s, 99, the Gretzky hand, and he's going to raise with it.
Makes it $300,000 to go.
Right behind him, the man from Long Island, Andrew Nee, not going to play a 7-3. And now Mark Safe also with a pair of 9s. How interesting.
All right, Dan. Let's gamble. See a flop.
Mark's going to make the call. Does not raise with the 2 9s. Wants to see a flop. Here it comes. A flop is ace-ace-king. Not a flop either one of these guys are going to get too excited about.
Now action's going to Mark. He quickly checks.
Dan checks right behind him.
Scary flop. Here comes the turn.
And here comes a king. Now both players are playing aces and kings with the 9 kicker here. But look at this. Mark Safe is reaching for chips, Vince. Yep. $450,000.
He's going to try to pillage this pot with his lousy pair of 9s.
And you can see the visible grimace by Dan Highmiller there. Not a very good poker face. Not happy with that turn card.
And is this bluff going to work by Mark Safe? Yes, it is.
So Mark Safe staying aggressive.
Hey, you can't win them all if you don't win the first 2, huh? I don't plan on winning them all. I just want to win the last one.
Right there, that is some deep poker philosophy right there. Gotta just win the last one.
Well, he gets a gold star for it, I can tell you that. Because you do have to win the last hand to win the tournament.
You know, Mark, we've seen him before on the World Poker Tour. It almost looks like he could be the owner of a creepy motel, but he's just a great guy.
Well, Vince, that's because with the possible exception of Phil Ivey, Mark Safe probably has the best eyes in the poker world.
Nevertheless, action going to Sang Kim, this time with an ace-10.
Well, Vince, if you want to take down WPT titles, He's got to play a lot more pots than I believe Sang does play. Here's an ace-10. Let's see what he's going to do with it. He mucks it, so his conservatism taken over. Vivek out, Dan folding quickly.
And now the insurance man from Long Island, Andrew Nee, also folding.
So it's the battle of the blinds here.
And now it's on Mark Safe once again with a queen 3.
All in.
And look at this. He says all in with this mess.
Wow. He says all in for over $5 million, but in essence, he's betting the $1.6 million that Jason has in front of him.
He's going to try to push the Floridian out of this.
I got one ace, but I don't have a good thing with it.
And aggressiveness wins that pot for him. Vince, 3 in a row, the hat trick for Mark Safe. Off to a good start at this final table.
3 pots in a row.
Can you believe it? All stolen goods, too.
All right, 6 players remain. We're coming back to Borgata in just a moment. Stay with us here on the World Poker Tour.
Mark Safe, he is volatile. He can have any 2 random cards. I have to play him aggressively. I have to keep on an even keel so that he doesn't tilt me.
Vivek?
No, I owned him today.
Oh, you owned him.
And I think that he might bluff off all the strips for me.
A few more good calls and I'll be out in 14th.
We play because poker's not a scratch-off ticket, a half-court jumper, or a knock on wood. It's no game of luck, poker. It's a game of patience and well-timed aggression. We know when we play, a little luck helps. But luck can't explain why final tables have so many familiar faces. We play at FullTiltPoker.com.
Now you've got Vivek, Dan Heimler, and myself. Vivek, young kid, likable guy. He's definitely capable of making a big mistake. Heimler, he's become uber aggressive, but I think he can too make a big mistake.
It's because I'm stupid.
Me, I have the reputation for being the nut job.
You guys think? Wait for it all?
And I'm feeling 100% solid. So I like my chances.
Well, you heard it there from the master of intensity, Madman, Mark Safe. Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. I'm Vince Van Patten alongside Mike Sexton.
So Mark Safe off to a good start at this final table. But our chip leader still is Vivek Raj Kumar with over $6.4 million in chips. Mark Safe in second place with about $5.5 million. Nearly tied for third is Sang Kim and Dan Heimler. Both have about $3 million.
And now Dan Heimler with an ace-4 diamonds has raised to $300,000.
Andrew Nee from Mount Sinai, New York, who got in this tournament on a $1,000 satellite, goes out.
But Mark Safe always calling, this time with a king 5 of hearts.
Well, he's in position. He's got chips. He's on a roll. Why not?
Now the entrepreneur, Jason Strocek from Lauderdale with a 10-7, caps his cards here.
I would like to see a flop, but just going to stay out of the way here. And the Sang Kim in the big blind, he goes out as well.
Me and Danley again.
So the 2 pros out of Las Vegas going to fight it out
How's
again.
that? You got anything this time or just air again?
That's for me to know and you to find out.
You raised me with air last time.
Poker cliches
I raised
flying
the best
around the
hands.
table.
You got lucky.
Here's the flop.
Double
Uh-oh.
pair.
Flop is ace, king, king. Mark got lucky again. He's flopped 3 kings. Dan Heimler with 2 aces.
Action's going to Dan, and he's going to wisely check. Mark quickly checking behind him, trying to set a trap.
6 of diamonds comes off. So Mark's still out in front with the 3 kings.
Andrew checks.
Dan checks.
Dan checks again.
Ooh, he got a little mad there. He's a little
4
testy.
flush, and aces up.
Well, let's see if he's got anything since he's a little testy. 500.
Mark trying to play it like he doesn't have much, just testing the water. We know better.
Well, Dan calls with the 2 aces.
What do we need here, Dan? Spade ball?
Spade.
He needs an ace or a diamond.
All right, river card coming up.
Oh, and the 9 of diamonds comes off. Dan Heimler has made an ace-high flush. He now has the best hand.
Just a sick river card. Now it's on Dan. Look at poor Mark, waiting to be slaughtered.
Oh, boy. Well, Dan is not going to check the flush. He's going to bet $1 million.
I don't love my hand anymore.
Well, good poker instincts by Mark. The question is, can he get away from 3 kings?
So am I supposed to believe backdoor flush or a king? Which one, Dan?
Yeah. Either one of them beat you, Mark.
I think my hand's too big to fold, though.
Mark just imploding before our very eyes.
All right.
Tough to get away from this.
Let's see it, Dan.
Oh, Vince, he called.
Oh, boy.
Yep, backdoor flush.
So Dan Heimiller going to take down this pot. And as you can see, Mark Safe a little disgruntled.
Mark Safe taking a hit. Very stunned, Mark Safe.
It was a chop pot anyway, I think.
Yep.
Before the last card.
My kicker was slightly bigger.
Not exactly.
Out of 5.
Put you on ace-5.
Yeah.
Could boil a pot of coffee on Mark's head right now. He's steaming. Okay, to the next hand. First hit there from Mark Safe. Very unpleasant. Action going to Dan Heimiller. In first position. This time Dan with a 9-deuce offsuit, and he goes out.
Andrew Nee looks down at a 7-3 offsuit and folds.
And back to Mark, and he's going to take a little break. Try to cool off.
Round to amateur Jason Strochak. He's on the button. Folds a 10-3.
So it is a battle of the blinds, and now Sang Kim in the small blind with a king-jack.
And he's going to raise it. Those yellow chips are $100,000 chips. So he's going to pop it up to 360 here. Vivek Rajkumar is the chip leader, but is also well aware that this Sang plays a pretty tight game of poker. Do you really want to get involved with a Jack-7 against this guy? I don't think so. Vivek folds, and Sang, the 7th degree Taekwondo black belt, takes down his first pot.
That is right. That is just a nice little chop to the groin by the black belt.
7th degree black belt.
Sang Kim taking that pot. It's just amazing. It's his first WPT event. He's got to be excited to be here at the final table. All right, action going to the insurance man from Long Island, Andrew Nee. He's got ace-4. Look at this. He's putting all his chips in.
Well, his knee-jerk reaction is to move in with it. That's what he's done.
Mark Safe behind him, quickly folds, but Jason Strochak with a pair of 10s.
I call.
Well, Jason's going to make the call. These are the 2 short stacks at the table.
Yes, he does make the call. Now Sang Kim with the button.
That was quick.
Nothing looking 4-3. Won't play that.
This is exciting. Good luck, guys.
Well, Vivek says good luck.
Oh, I opened the first one. I'm out. You guys are both all in, right?
Well, Dan looks at an
I
ace-7.
opened the first one. The second one was not an ace, though.
He's going to lay it down, but
We're good.
Andrew's not going to like to see that he folded an ace, because that's one of the cards he's going to need to win this pot, perhaps.
Now, Jason does have more chips, slightly,
Oh, Mark, this is where it comes, buddy.
than Andrew Nee.
You're in good shape.
Well, they're the 2 short stacks at the table, but one of them is about to have a nice stack of chips. Jason Strochak out in front with the 2 10s.
Here come the first 3.
Well, it's queen, 5, deuce, all spades. Neither player have a spade in their hand.
Andrew has an inside straight draw, though. Little possibility there.
Well, Andrew needs an ace or a 3 to take the lead here.
Turn card coming up.
Well, a king comes off, so we are down to the river card. Andrew must catch an ace or a 3, or he'll be out in 6th place. And it's the 8 of clubs. So that's going to do it for the businessman from Mount Sinai, New York, Andrew Nee, who got in this tournament by winning a $1,000 satellite, goes out tonight in 6th place.
Yeah, nothing you can do about that. Andrew Nee, $237,000 richer, going back to Long Island. Stay tuned. 5 players remain in Borgata, and we're coming back for more action in just a moment.
Tonight's World Poker Tour brought to you by FullTiltPoker.net.
Here at the Borgata, they made it a little easier to let the cream rise to the top.
Poker is probably one of the most important things we have at Borgata. Borgata tries to make it special in everything we do. When we have people coming in from all over the world, we want to make them feel as welcome as we can.
Survive!
Welcome back to Atlantic City. 5 players going after over $1.4 million.
Our current chip leader is 22-year-old Vivek Raj Kumar with $6.2 million. In second place, Dan Highmiller with about $4.8 million. Mark Safe in third place with $3.6 million.
And there you see some of the past champions of Borgata: Daniel Negreanu, Mark Newhouse, Roy Winston. And tonight, one of these 5 players will join those champions as a Borgata Poker Open winner. Let's go down to the felt for this one. Vivek quickly folding. And now Dan Highmiller with a 10-6 has made this call.
And Mark Safe says, give us a flop with a 7-6. Here comes a flop. It's Jack 10-8. Dan Highmiller out in front now with a pair of 10s. Action on him.
And he's a 46-year-old poker professional out of Vegas, and with a piece of it, looks like he's going to make a bet here, $150,000.
Well, Mark Safe, who just got beat a big pot by Dan a minute ago when he flopped 3 kings, lost to a flush. Here he's going to raise Vince with a 7 high, makes it $450,000 to go.
With absolute zip and pip, inside straight draw, that's about it.
Dan Highmiller lets out a sigh that he's not happy about that raise, and he lays down the 2 10s. Nicely done there by Mark Safe, coming over the top with absolutely nothing just to take that pot away from Dan.
But you see what really did it is Mark gave him those serial killer eyes, straight out of Alfred Hitchcock, scared him out of the pot.
Can you play a hand, Vivek?
Can I play a hand?
Are you going to?
I can, I guess.
Now Mark
What's this one?
turns off a Dan onto the chip leader, Vivek Raj Kumar, the 22-year-old, and says, aren't you ever going to play a hand? Hasn't played one yet.
A little chiding going on to this hand. Sang Kim with a 10 deuce. Going to fold it.
Hand, Mark? You want me to play a hand?
And now Vivek not going to bite there.
You scare me. You scare me way too much.
Dan scares me.
And nobody scares
Dan Highmiller on the button.
No, there's one person who scares me. It's myself. I scare myself.
You should scare yourself. You're a scary fella.
Only one scary player at this table. It's Mark Safe with those eyes. Come on, guys.
Well, action's on Mark now.
$350 to go.
He's going to make it $350,000 to go.
Just got to love his intensity at the table, his looseness.
You look nice in makeup.
Raising with Queen 8.
Thank you. I call.
Jason's got 2 5s.
Just buttering you up. Hoping you'd fold, but now it's on.
Now, against the Mark Safe, most players would just move all in on him right there, but Jason's going to see it flop first. He does make the call with the 2 5s.
Mark, very chatty. Here comes the flop. Will he get lucky? Not there.
Well, flop comes King 7-7. Looks like Mark's going to make the continuation bet here, and indeed he does. $375,000. It's only about half the size of the pot. Jason contemplating that. He does have the best hand with 2 5s, but what do you do here when it comes King 7-7?
Well, Jason's 31 years old. He's an entrepreneur, and he says raise here. That's what he does.
Wow. Makes it $900,000 to go. Now Mark Safe trying to put the pieces of this puzzle together. You're not going to put the guy on ace-king because he didn't raise you before the flop, or probably even king-queen. Does he have a 7? Is he just pulling a move here? What does he have? Mark wondering if he's got enough chips that if he raised him back, will the guy get out?
1.6.
What he's doing now, sizing up the chips that Jason has left.
Poker babble by Mark Safe right now. You got to think there's no real intention to come over the top.
Oh, that's Mark very capable of making that play, believe me.
I know he is, but this guy hasn't played too many hands, Jason. So his perception of the table is pretty tight. Mark knows that.
You can see Mark just wincing there with his facial expressions. He is going to lay it down. So Jason Strocek taking down another pot.
You can breathe now.
Okay, 5 players remain going after that over $1.4 million at Borgata. We're coming right back for more action in just a moment.
Find out how to become the next WPT champion
at worldpokertour.com.
When you see it on TV, you don't really know how hard it is until you go on there and do it.
the field is so big, and there's so many hours you play, and there's so many good players. You know, they'll put you to the test like every time. And you make one mistake, and everything you did for the prior couple days, it's gone. It's wasted.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. 5 players remain at Borgata. And right there, Jason says there's tremendous pressure playing. But I got to think that his neck has more pressure because he's buttoned up so tight there. It's got to be strangling him.
Well, Vince, that's because he's trying to become the 94th WPT Poker Made Millionaire. That's what will happen to whoever wins tonight.
Back down to the felt. Action on Vivek, quickly folding his hand.
And Highmiller out as well.
Mark Safe also going out, so it's a battle of the blinds. And Jason Strocek with an ace-6 of hearts.
That's a hand that you figure to be favored over the big blind. 2 random cards. So he's going to raise it. Makes it $385,000 to go.
Come on, Jason.
Only one to beat is Sang Kim, the black belt out of Virginia. He's got a king-8 offsuit. And what will he do? No, he's going to muck.
Yep, no karate chop here. He goes out. Jason takes down the pot.
Yep, his friends and family flying in from Fort Lauderdale up the eastern seaboard to beautiful Atlantic City. And what a casino this Borgata is. It is high class all the way. We are having a good time this week.
Well, action around on the Las Vegas Pro, Dan Highmiller. Now, he's one poker player, Vince, that's not really into the limelight and television. He's just in it for the money. The only player, I might add, in the history of the tour that didn't show up for his interview today.
Well, he has folded, and now Mark Safe with a pair of 8s is going to raise. Makes it $350,000 to go, but Jason behind him has the ladies, pair of queens.
Has him completely dominated pair over pair. Let's see what he's going to do with the 2 queens.
Looking over at Mark Safe, and he is going to raise.
Boy. Looks like it's going to be about 1.2 million more.
Now, is it just me, or does Mark Safe and Jason look like they could have been separated at birth? I don't know.
Wait, he's last out, yeah.
Well, Sang going out. Vivek.
1.2 million, yep.
Folding the big blind. Now Mark Safe better be real careful here.
506.
Jason has a little bit more than Mark.
5.4.
So Mark contemplating what to do. Now, Vince, he should see, in my mind, Jason is pot committed here, but
let's see if we're racing. I'm all in.
Doesn't stop him. He's going all in right here.
He does, and a quick call by Jason.
So Mark Safe up against it. This is a tactical error, I think, by Mark Safe. He should have realized that he was going to get called in this situation if he moved in because of the price that the guy was getting. And as it is, Mark Safe in dire straits. He is all in here. If he doesn't get lucky and outdraw his opponent, he is going to be out in 5th place.
Button.
Mark Safe so desperately wants to win this tournament, but right now he's looking up the barrel of the gun. He's got the underpair, 2 8s versus 2 queens for all his money.
You're right, Mike. A maniac might have gone a little too fast here. And right now, the Floridian, the entrepreneur Jason, with a big chance of breaking the great Mark Safe.
8! But an 8 comes on the flop. It's come ace-8, 4.
Absolute suck out for Mark Safe at this point.
To add to Jason's trouble, Vince, we saw Vivek fold a queen, so he's got 1 out.
Get it in like a donkey and suck out. One of the best strategies in poker.
It could come ace-ace. He could win that way.
It's not over yet. Come on. Little blank ball.
5 of spade comes on the turn. We are down to the river. Jason has 1 out, the lonesome queen.
Well, sometimes you got to do the wrong thing at the right time. So far it is from Mark, and it's going to hold up.
10 of diamonds comes off. So Mark Safe staying alive. Over $6.6 million in that pot. He is a new chip leader at this final table.
And Jason just hanging in there now. He'll have a couple $100,000 left over. Stay tuned. We're coming back with more action as 5 players remain. We are back at Borgata in Atlantic City. 5 players remaining, going after that over $1.4 million.
What drama we just witnessed as Mark Safe outdrew Jason Strocek in that last pot. He now has the chip lead at this final table with $6.7 million. Vivek Raj Kumar in second place with $6 million in chips.
I like sucking out.
Dan Heimiller in third place with $4.5 million, and poor Jason, who lost that last hand, hanging on by a thread.
Ugh, that hurt.
All right, back to this hand.
Little piece of me dies every time I do that.
We got a few folds around, and now action goes to Vivek.
It looks like he's about to play his first pot here, Vince, and he does so by limping into the small blind with a king-8 offsuit.
Hold on.
And Dan?
Check.
Not going to raise with his 10-6, so we're going to see the flop.
And here comes that flop. It's come 4 deuce. Action on Vivek. This is a 22-year-old, very intelligent guy. He's going to lead out and bet right here, 125,000. Dan Heimiller only has a 10-6 offsuit. Vince, he is making a call here to try to steal this pot later on. He's got no hand and no draw, yet makes a call on the flop. Unfortunately for him, an 8 comes off on the turn. Vivek now has a pair of 8s with a king kicker.
Yes, he does. Action goes to him. And this time he's going to slow down and check it.
Well, that's just in case. Dan flopped 3 deuces. Well, Dan's going to act like he flopped them because he's going to bet this 10 high. 150,000. Now, that's not a big bet into a pot that's got over $500,000 in it, but still a scary bet if you're sitting in Vivek's seat, because you're fearful that when a guy called you on the flop after you let out and bet that he might have flopped 3 deuces. Remember, he was in the big blind. He could have any 2 cards.
But it is a little TC fly bet, 150,000 into this pot. Vivek thinking it through, and he is going to make the call.
So Dan Heimiller not liking that. Here comes the river card. 5 of clubs comes off. So there is a possible straight out there. Vivek has the best hand, but the 2 8s. Action's on him. Looks like he's reaching for chips. Now, I don't understand the purpose of this bet, and I say that because if his opponent's got 3 deuces, he certainly beat. He's going to bet $500,000.
Yep.
Where he's going to get called, but if he had nothing, he might bluff his money off. You cut the bluff off here when you lead out and bet $500,000. Well, Dan does decide to lay the hand down now. So Vivek picks up his first pot. Dan Heimiller had the right idea, Vince. Had he raised on the flop, chances are he'd won that pot instead of lost it, but chances are he was going to win it if anything other than an 8 or a king came off on the turn.
Very interesting play. Right back at him. Blinds are going up to 80 and 160,000, with the antes being 20,000. Action's going to the Floridian, Jason Strocek.
It is what it is. He knows he's going to be in the big blind the next hand. Doesn't have very many chips.
He's got a jack 8 this time.
It's not much of a hand, but he may as well go ahead and shove it in now.
All in.
Ooh, he does so.
He's got to do it this hand or the next one, so why not get more value out of it by moving in here as he does so?
Yeah, sang out, Vivek out.
Around to Dan Heimiller, who just got a little cute that last pot and lost some money. Here he's got a 10 high. He's got the suited connector, but it's the kind of hand you don't mind calling some raises if you've got chips and your opponent's got chips. Here, his opponent doesn't have any more chips left. You're just essentially gambling the call here with this hand.
I call.
Well, that's what Dan's doing. He's making the call.
Yep, and Mark Safe going to let them play, so we have it all in bet here. It is the Floridian, the entrepreneur, Jason.
Well, Vince, he's got to love it. He's out in front with a jack high. Dan Heimiller with just a 10 high.
Justice.
So it's a pot that's got over 1.1 million in it.
No matter what.
Jason's tournament life on the line. Will his jack high hold up? So far, so good. It's come 6-6 deuce. Jason's got to love that flop.
You're way ahead.
And what Jason says, I want some justice, but even if you win this, you'll never get justice after having your queens cracked like that.
Well, cracked by a pair of 8s, all in before the flop.
End it with a jack.
Is the jack high going to win this?
Well, a queen comes off. So we are down to the river card. And for Jason to win this pot, all he's got to do is dodge a 10 or a 9 on the river. See if he can do it. Yep, a king comes off. So Jason Strocek is going to double up and stay alive.
Yep, he is going to stick around. I hope you will too. We're coming back with more exciting action from Borgata here on the World Poker Tour.
I watched Gus Hansen win his 3rd WPT.
He's wagging the finger back and forth.
Aha, it's not over yet, my man.
And I caught the, the poker bug.
Welcome back to the WPT. We are in the 7th season here on the World Poker Tour at Borgata.
And tonight's winner will become the 94th WPT Poker Made Millionaire. Lots of money to be made out here on the World Poker Tour.
All right, to the table. Sang Kim now looking at a pretty strong ace-10 offsuit.
Wow, he folds, Vince. Second time he's folded that in first position. He's playing tight.
Well, he's playing tighter than a parking space at a 7-Eleven. Tell you that much.
Unlike Vivek, who's raising it here for $500,000 with a Jack-5 offsuit.
Dan has gone out. Mark safe also.
Jason folds, so Vivek takes down that pot by raising it with a Jack-5. Vince, I just don't understand Sang's thought process. You're never going to win out here in the World Poker Tour if you don't play ace-10s in a shorthanded poker game.
Absolutely agreed.
When you win? No. Any pair.
But you talk about Vivek.
Okay, Jack-5.
He graduated high school at 15, college at 18. A very intelligent guy.
And he graduated in applied mathematics and computer engineering. Worked for Microsoft for a year. But here's Dan Heimiller now. He looks down at an ace-jack. He's got some raising chips out. And indeed, he is going to raise it. Makes it $400,000 to go.
Once the button, Mark safe going to fold his queen 3.
Round to Jason. Jason folds a 7-3. Sang goes out as well. So Dan Heimiller picking up the blinds and Annie, and they're pretty healthy. Remember, Annies are 20,000, blinds are 80 and 160,000, so it's 340,000 sitting on the table. Every time you pick up a set of blinds and Annies, you add 340,000 to your stack.
You know, you look at Dan, though, you know, if you put a cowboy hat on him, he could be Hoss from Bonanza.
Well, Hoss folds here.
Mark safe now with queen 6 folded.
And to Jason on the button. Jason looks down at an 8-5 offsuit. Well, he's going to lay it down, so battle of the blinds here. Sang gives it up, so Vivek gets what we call a ground skinner. So they just give up the blinds and Annies to him, and I'm sure he's happy to get them, especially when he looks down at a 6-deuce offsuit.
Well, we started with 516 players, all putting up big bucks to take a shot at being a WPT Poker Made Millionaire this week. Who's it going to be? Action going to Mark safe, the madman of poker. This time's going to muck a king 6. Now the entrepreneur Jason Strocek with a miserable looking 6-5.
Well, he's on the short stack. Got a little over 800,000 left, and he's moving in with it, Vince.
Yep, he's going to try to bluff this off.
Well, we're just hoping he's got enough chips to bluff everybody out.
Sang does go out. Vivek as well. Only one to beat is Hoss.
Well, Dan's got 160,000 out there in the big blind. Going to cost him about 700,000 more to make the call now against what you would think is a pretty solid player. And Jason, he would just hate to make this call with a king 5 offsuit, I would think. Remember, he doubled him up a second ago when he had a 10-9. He called him all in. Could he double him up yet again?
Okay, let me think one more time. Let me figure this out.
Well, here's Dan trying to calculate the pot odds, trying to act smart like Vivek, but
should be able to do this pretty easy.
It's going to make poor Jason sweat this. Just praying that you can get away with this if you're Jason holding a 6-5.
Well, in truth, he's trying to act smart, but he's a gambler at heart.
I'm supposed to call, but I don't want to.
Jason doesn't want you to either, I can tell you that, Dan.
All right.
He's torturing Jason here.
Yeah.
Well, he's been known to gamble in the past.
Okay.
And he's going to do it here, Vince. And he's going to love it when Jason turns up his hand because he's got him dominated. As the cards lie, Dan Heimiller, a little over 3-1 favorite to win this pot. So Jason still smiling, happy to be here, but going to have to get lucky to stay alive in this tournament.
Just zigging and zagging for Jason. Had his queens cracked early on by Mark safe. And right now trying to steal his pot. Almost got his man out. Got tortured. And now he's in trouble.
Well, let's see if we can get lucky. Here comes a flop. Wow, what a flop for Jason. It's come 9-8-7. He's flopped it straight, and he has gone over to high-five his crowd. He can't lose the pot. He could tie it if a 6 comes off, but what a flop for Jason.
6. Give my money back.
Well, Dan Heimiller hollering for a 6.
He needs a miracle. I'd like to chop this pot.
6. I don't have an open end.
All he can do is tie it. He can't win it. Looking for a 6.
6!
Oh, a 6 comes right off. Just what Dan was hollering for. And this is going to be a split pot. Doesn't matter what comes on the river. Both players have made a straight. This will be a split pot.
Yeah, irrelevant 4 on the river.
It's not going to happen for me today.
So a lot of drama for a split pot there, Vince.
So disappointment for Jason. They're going to split this pot up. 5 players remain. Happiness at Borgata. We're coming back with more action in just a moment.
Hello, beautiful. Oh, yeah.
No one to play with. So play online at partypoker.com. It's fun, it's easy, it's the world's largest poker room.
You folded?
Welcome back to Borgata. 5 players remain, going after over $1 million.
Our current chip leader from Seattle, Washington, 22-year-old Vivek Raj Kumar with $6.8 million. Mark Safe in second place, $6.4 million. Dan Heimiller in third place with $4 million. 3 pros versus 2 amateurs. The amateurs on the bottom stacks right now.
We go to the felt to the delirious amateur player Jason Strocek, who has ace-4, and he says all in.
And he's got the ace-4 spade, moving all in with it.
Sang Kim has folded, and look at this. Vivek with ace-10 is quickly called.
And he's calling with the ace-10 of hearts. And Dan Heimiller has picked up a pair of jacks in the small blind here, Vince.
Yes, he has.
Just can't imagine he's going to lay these down. The question is, do you want to just call here, or do you come over the top and just try to isolate yourself against the all-in player? If you fool around and just call here and then get involved later, you could go broke to Vivek.
Now you see Jason smiling. That is a smile of a man that has been through it all. You know, this game will put you in the rubber room when you get your queens cracked. You're straight, you have to split. And that's why there's a little bit of irony in that smile.
Well, Dan Heimiller contemplating what to do with the 2 jacks. Do you just call here, or do you just go ahead and raise right now?
Call.
He's just calling. Wants to see a flop first. So Jason now knows he can triple up if he wins this pot.
Yep, he's staying optimistic
At
now.
least.
Mark Safe now still involved.
I'm out.
8-7, but not. Finally goes out.
Knowing Mark, he hates to give it up here with all that money out there, but opts to do so. So we've got 3-way action. Now they're not going to turn their hands up here because remember, Dan Heimiller and Vivek still have chips in front of them. They can continue to bet on the side. Well, the flop comes 5-5-4 with 2 diamonds. Dan Heimiller out in front with jacks up. And he's going to bet, Vince, and I don't blame him. There's $3 million sitting on the table. If his opponent's got aces, kings, or queens, so be it. Other than that, he knows 2 jacks are going to be the best hand right here. With so much money out there, I don't blame him for betting here. $1.4 million.
I don't know what to do. I guess I should have, I don't know.
Vivek is saying, I don't know what to do, but he does fold his ace high.
Well, he does know what to do because he gets out of the way.
I beat Vivek, too. I had beaten Vivek. I outflopped him.
Well, Jason upset that Dan's even involved in the pot because he would outflop Vivek, but now he's got his hands full. He's got to catch an ace or a 4 against Dan. As the cards lie, Dan Heimiller about a 4-1 favorite to win this pot and eliminate Jason from this tournament.
Over cards, I got to stand.
Ace!
Oh, an ace comes off. Well, Jason has hit lightning on the turn to take the lead.
God, this is a huge spot.
Wow. And there you see the sad puppy dog look on Dan Heimiller's face. He knows he needs a jack on the river.
You guys tell me what happened.
To eliminate this guy. Well, this is the 3rd time that Dan's tried to knock Jason out. Let's see if he can do it this time.
Jason getting a good man hug from a friend. Can his hand hold up? River card coming up.
Destiny.
Well, the deuce comes off.
He's done it.
Well, what's ironic about that, Vince, is had Dan not bet on the flop, Vivek would have won this pot.
I get the whole thing.
And we'd have been down to 4 players.
Well, Jason with more lives than Shirley MacLaine.
This is a sick game.
He's still involved. Stay with us. We're coming back with more action here on the World Poker Tour.
Just one cooler after another.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. We're at Borgata. 5 players remain, going after that over $1.4 million.
And Jason Strotrak just tripling up to stay alive in this final table. And because Vivek lost about $1 million in that last pot, Mark Safe has inherited the chip lead. He's got $6.2 million. Vivek with about $5.9 million. The rest of them all with over $2.5 million.
Back to the table, Sang Kim quickly folding a pair of 3s. But maybe that's a good move because right behind him, Vivek with a pair of 10s here.
Oh. Doesn't matter. They're
and he's going to raise.
Well, he does raise it. Makes it $450,000 to go. Dan Heimiller looks down at a pair of 4s.
3 wired pairs here. What action? What cards we're seeing?
Well, Vince, he just got burned in the last pot, so he's steaming a little bit here. Well, Dan is going to make the call. You always like to see flops with small pairs and hope you flop that set. But look at this, Vince. In the blind, Mark Safe has picked up 2 aces.
How much is it?
This is a dream scenario, folks. One guy's raised, another guy's called. You're in the blind, you look down, you find 2 aces.
I'm going to raise.
So Mark Safe does announce raise with the 2 aces.
Yes, he does. He's got the mother of all poker hands. Jason still looking a little delirious, a little goofy. Goes away.
I'm sorry, I thought you already
goes
raised.
Away before Mark can even get the raise out there, which is $900,000. Well, Jason just happy to see all this action going on. Maybe somebody will get broke.
Now it's back on Vivek.
Vince, he knows Mark is capable of raising in this spot with any 2 cards because Dan Heimiller did not come over the top of him. On the other hand, you have to be leery that your opponent's got at least an ace-king or aces, kings, or queens in this situation, but
$3 million on top.
Ooh, Vivek is not leery of that. He is re-raising $3 million more.
Oh, man.
And that is music to Mark Safe's ears. Dan Heimiller getting out of the way.
Oh, boy, this could be a 22-year-old belly flop here by Vivek.
Well, Mark Safe has got to love this, Vince.
Okay, just tell me what you started with. You said you started with what? 6 million?
6 million, 6.5.
These are the 2 chip leaders, folks. And believe me, Mark Safe is going to ship them here.
I'm all in.
I call.
He does go all in, and he's quickly called by Vivek. Mark pumps the fist, and the young 22-year-old has stubbed his toe, it looks like, Vince. Whichever one of these guys win this pot will be the massive chip leader at this final table.
He squeezes me and him with 10s. What am I supposed to do?
Well, Vivek said, what am I supposed to do? This guy's always raising.
So sick.
He's in a kiddie conference right now with his buddies here.
I want to see 5 cards before.
Vince, he came to this final table as the big chip leader. He could go out in 5th place right now. So Mark Safe in the dream position to win over $12 million. 2 aces versus 2 10s. Here comes the flop. Oh, a 10 comes on the flop. Vivek has taken the lead.
Oh, 10!
He looks like a walking jack-in-the-box as he's jumping up and down there. He's flopped 3 10s. And Mark Safe is just devastated. You can feel the dagger in his heart. He's got to catch an ace or a running king and a jack to make an ace high straight to win this pot. Queen would also do it, but Mark Safe up against it right now.
You keep putting up goofy stuff.
In dire straits.
King, jack, ace. Oh, look.
He's still trying to be optimistic, but here comes the turn.
Well, a queen comes off. Now that means if another queen comes, Mark Safe would have the best hand with queens full of aces.
No matter what happens.
But as it is, he's got to catch an ace or a queen on the river, or his stack is going to be almost totally depleted.
Vivek can't look, burying his head in the sand. Here comes the river card.
Well, the 9 of diamonds comes off. So Vivek jumping for joy, and you can't blame him there.
This is so exciting. This is so exciting. This is so exciting.
But Vince, you got to feel the pain of Mark Safe. He took a dagger in the heart right there.
Wow, wow, wow. I cannot believe this.
Right now, Vivek is Mr. Lucky, the big stack at the table. He is the favorite to take this title.
Wow.
That's all we have time for this week. I'm Mike Sexton for Vince Van Patten saying be sure to join us next time for the exciting conclusion of the Borgata Poker Open right here on the World Poker Tour. Next time on the World Poker Tour.
Today's winner will take home over $1.4 million.
I thought I'd come off terrible on TV.
Not fair sometimes.
It's just not fair.
I thought we were friends.
I am. Okay, let's go. All in.
I don't want to be enemies.
I don't understand what this is for here.